There was so many years of depression, so many years of heartache. I struggled, I really did.
From going to different unhealthy places and then eventually being in prison, no matter what, I still felt you weren't safe. So being the oldest, always felt like I had to be a protector of you. That's why I always wanted to be by your side.
I was 4 when we moved to our new home with my aunt and uncle. I didn't have much recollection of what happened previously and how I got to that point. And so it was just more like a giant sleepover. You know, I had my bunk bed and I had my 2 sisters and wasn't too worried, but I never really could be myself.
But I was a little confused. I didn't understand what was going on.
It wasn't easy, but I knew that it was best for y'all to go where I put y'all. I knew I was toxic. I knew I was making really bad choices and bad relationships. I had been a bad mom to keep y'all any longer than I did. It wasn't until I finally found the Lord that I realized I might have a second chance. There's some hope. God gave me that hope.
So when you told me about the Grace House, you sent your pictures and I, of course I had to do some research. I was like, what's this place? And then of course when I looked up what Grace House was, a weight was lifted. It wasn't a new boyfriend or some sketchy job or it was a place where people love the Lord and will love you like you're supposed to be loved.
I wanted to be somewhere safe when I got out of prison, and I wanted to also be out of my family's life where I'm not causing any more pain. And I wanted to get myself right with God, with myself. Just didn't want to hurt anybody else anymore. And it might have been 8 hours away, but I knew I was going to be able to get myself together and let God do the rest, let go and let God.
Kind of getting your life back together and finding your way through God, and I was really proud of you, and I was like, oh, I'm really glad she's working towards something for herself.
Grace House was the place where I first felt like you were safe. So I'm really proud of the actions that you took to go straight to Grace House. I mean, I couldn't imagine how hard that would be. You haven't seen us in 10 years, and yet you chose to do the healthy thing of putting your needs and your relationship with God first, making sure you're 100% where you need to be before you start making an impact in our lives. I mean, for you to be put in prison for stealing a card to come to us, this must have been really hard to drive further away to make sure that you have a great foundation. So I'm really impressed.
I was only 15, 16 when you started kind of talking to Risha and kind of coming back, and I was still having that resentment, and so I was still kind of warming back up, and then Risha started kind of getting me to think about the options through God's eyes and forgiveness, and I liked the path you were following. And so whenever you said, hey, I'm gonna be in town, be at grandma's, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go here with an open heart, open mind, and it's time to heal this wound and kind of find a new beginning.
I was a little confused, but I was like, oh, okay, this is my mom, okay. I understand, I kind of know where she is now. Like, I don't have this resentment.
It was almost unreal, because you kind of, after 10 years, you have all these scenarios of how it's gonna happen. Of course, when it does, you're like, this isn't real. This is just another dream or something. So it was amazing. And it was like, once that one day happened, it was more like, you've been here forever. I don't remember even losing you.
It feels good to have you back in my life. Like, I love you and all your craziness and your hyperness and your love for art and God. I was like, oh yeah, this is my mom. This is gonna be my best friend.
And I was like, oh my goodness, she's a high schooler who never grew up. You used to have all this energy. I thought you'd be an old fart. And I was like, I was dreading it. And I was like, oh, she's gonna be old and grumpy, and like, I'm your mama, and no, she's just goofing off and making crafts and bringing in paints. And I came back there, and you're just laughing, crying, goofing off, and I was like, this is what I like. This is what I miss. This is all right. I like it. And then the rest is history.
Leaving Grace House, it was a decision I had to make. It was either staying and working at Grace House or coming and having y'all full time back in my life. I had to come back to y'all. It was hard to leave Grace House, but I just knew I'm always going to be a part of Grace House. It's always going to be in my heart. They're a big part of my life. They're part of my family, and I hated leaving them, but at the same time, I'm glad when I got my family back. I got my husband and my parents and my 3 little babies back in my life, and it's all I can ask for.
It's incredible. I've always wanted you in my life, but it was more so, is it healthy to have you in my life? So now it's like, you can be my mom. You're here the way you're supposed to be here, and you love the Lord more than you love me, and I love the Lord more than I love you. To have that relationship, spiritually, it feels like we have a great foundation now. No matter what, in whatever direction we go, we still have that foundation that God's got us, or He's in control, so we don't have to stress about each other. So I like that. And we're all going to the same place. So no matter what, we are going to be together forever.